Hey guys, Kyle Hosh here with the Stanton Golf Academy, and this is part 1 of 4 in our Master Your Short Game series. And today we're talking about chipping. Welcome. So today we're going to be covering chipping, specifically 3 different types of chips. We're going to go over a no hinge, a hinge and hold, and a hinge and release style chip. 3 different ways to help you lower your scores. So the first one we're going to go over today is a no hinge chip. It's going to be the most basic chip out of all of them. You're basically going to have a narrow stance, handle straight up in the air. It could be a little bit forward, that's fine. And we're going to make a putting stroke. So it's going to be just rocking your arms. And this is going to be a no hinge style chip. Now, why would we use this style chip? Well, if we just miss the green, say there's some patches of dirt or something we can't putt through, and we need to just pop it over and onto the green, we're going to use a no hinge style chip. Now, specifically with a lob wedge or, a sand wedge or something high lofted to pop it up in the air and make it land soft. Now, all we're going to do is when we take our stance, our narrow stance, and we can have a little shaftling, that's fine. If it's up in the air, it's just going to go higher. So we're not going to take it above our knees. With all these chip shots, if it's going to go above our knees, it's not really going to go above mid-thigh. That's too big. If it comes up to hip high, that's going to be more of a pitch. So with our no hinge, it's going to be about here, and we're going to swing through. We're just going to do a nice little pendulum motion to pop it up in the air. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what that'll do on this green here. And so, as we can see, just landed on the green, rolled out just a little bit. So that way, if we are short-sighted, we have something to pop it up in the air, make it land soft so it's not going to go too far. So the next style chip we're going to go over is a hinge and hold. And with the hinge and hold, it's going to be a mid-range chip. So we're going to apply all of these chips through all of our wedges, even 9, 8, sometimes 7 iron, depending on the size of the green. So with a hinge and hold style chip, we're looking at a little bit narrower stance. You can keep your stance as it was with the no hinge, that's fine. Personally, I have a little bit more narrower stance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it back with a little bit of hinge. I don't want to be here because that's too big. I want to stay around knee high. If I go a little bit above, that's fine, but we don't want to be here. So I'm going to take it back to about knee high, and I'm going to turn through and not release it. I'm going to hold it off. And so what this is going to do is it's going to be a little bit lower flight, but it's also going to get a good amount of check to it because we're creating more speed than we were with our no hinge. And so as we can see, our no hinge is still right here, real short, which is exactly where it should be. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a hinge and hold for you guys to show you a distance difference. And so as you can see, that landed just short of my no hinge, and then it released further out. So that's going to be our mid-range chip. So the last style chip we're going to go over is a hinge and release. A hinge and release is going to be our longest chip that we do. And so what that is we're going to set up the same way we would with our hinge and hold. In fact, we're even going to take it back the same as our hinge and hold. The difference being we're going to turn through and release it. So we're going to release it through impact. We're not swinging hard, we're swinging at the same pace, but because we're releasing the club, we're going to create more club head speed. It's going to go a little higher, it's going to fly a little farther, and it's going to release a lot more. So this would be something where if you're going to a mid pin, yeah, this is a great one. Also, if you're going to a back pin, another great option. Something where you got a lot of green to work with, so you can fly it roughly about a third of the way, depending on what wedge you're using, or 9-iron or 8-iron, and let it release back to it. And so, as you can see, we have our no hinge here short, followed by our hinge and hold a little bit further. And so for a reference, I'm going to show you a hinge and release on this green for distance difference. So let's check that out. And so as you can see, because I released it instead of holding it off, it flew about just as far as my hinge and hold total distance, and then it released a little bit further. Obviously there's a little hill back there that kind of slowed it down, but as you can see, it went much further and much higher. It's borderline pitch. Well, hopefully you guys learned something from our chipping demonstration with our hinge and hold, hinge and release, and our no hinge style chips. Now, to take this a step further, go out to your practice green, go out to an empty hole on your local course, hit 5 shots with each style of chip and each club you chip with. Pace it off, or use your rangefinder or whatever you can do to get a distance that you know. So I know that my no hinge lob wedge goes 5 yards. So if I'm ever in a situation where I have a 5-yard chip, I can go to that. I know what to hit. I don't have to guess. Just like if I was to go towards this back pin, well, it's about 20 yards. I'm not gonna try to hit a hinge and release lob wedge because you can see that that's not gonna get there. I'm gonna grab my sand wedge or maybe even a gap wedge, depending on how far they go with a hinge and release. So it's the same thing with a full swing. If you're 150 yards out and you hit your 7-iron 150 yards, you're not gonna hit your pitching wedge. That doesn't make sense. The same thing applies to here. If you approach a pin that's 15 yards and your hinge and release lob wedge goes 10 yards, put your lob wedge away. Go to your club that you know you hit 15 yards with a certain chip, whether it's a hinge and hold or hinge and release, or maybe even a no hinge with a lower lofted club. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys can lower your scores out there, get your scrambling numbers up. If you have any questions or anything for me, leave them down in the comments section. As always, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. Check us out on Instagram. Every Tuesday we have Quick Tip Tuesday. It's a short little video to help you out. Every Wednesday we'll be putting videos on here on YouTube to help you lower your scores. And if you've missed any videos and you want an easy way to find it, check out thestandardgolfacademy.com. We have a whole archive of all the videos we've put up here, all categorized by how they are: chipping, pitching, driver, and so forth. So check us out. Thank you for stopping by.